Welcome to the Hidden Wealth Coins. Hidden inside old pockets, dusty coin jars, forgotten piggy banks, and family collections could be Washington quarters worth a shocking fortune today. Most people spend these coins without ever checking the date, mint errors, or condition, but some rare quarters from 1965, 1966, 1981, 1984, 1987, 1990, and 1991 have stunned collectors with unbelievable value. A tiny minting mistake or flawless condition could turn an ordinary 25-cent coin into a collector treasure worth thousands. These rare quarters are becoming harder to find every year, and one overlooked coin hiding in your home right now could completely change your future forever. First up, the year 1981 may look ordinary to most people, but hidden inside old drawers, dusty piggy banks, forgotten coin jars, and abandoned collections could be one of the most shocking treasures in American coin history. The rare 1981 Washington quarter. At first glance, this quarter appears completely normal. Just another everyday coin once used to buy candy, newspapers, or gasoline. But collectors across the United States have spent years hunting for specific 1981 quarters, because some rare examples contain astonishing minting secrets, rare errors, and near-perfect conditions that can push their value into unbelievable territory. A single tiny detail on this coin could separate a common 25-cent piece from a life-changing collectible worth thousands of dollars today. The story of the Washington quarter itself began long before 1981. Originally introduced in 1932 to honor America's first president, George Washington, the coin quickly became one of the most recognized pieces of currency ever produced in the United States. Designed with a powerful portrait of Washington on the front and the famous eagle on the reverse during earlier years, the quarter became a symbol of everyday American life. By 1981, millions of these coins were circulating through banks, stores, restaurants, and vending machines. Most people never imagined that a few special quarters from that year would eventually become highly desired collector treasures hunted worldwide. One reason the 1981 Washington quarter became so legendary is because of its surprisingly low-quality production during that era. In the early 1980s, the United States Mint faced financial pressure, aging equipment, and massive coin demand. Because of this, many 1981 quarters were struck poorly, with weak details and rough surfaces. Ironically, that production problem created an entirely new level of rarity. Coins from 1981 that survived with sharp details, brilliant luster, and nearly flawless surfaces became incredibly difficult to find. Collectors now compete aggressively for top-condition examples because so few survived untouched after decades of circulation. Among the most valuable versions is the 1981 Washington quarter struck for proof sets. Proof coins were specially produced for collectors using polished dies and mirror-like finishes. However, some 1981 proof quarters displayed extraordinary deep cameo contrast, where the portrait appears frosted against a black mirror background. In extremely high grades, these proof coins can sell for astonishing prices. Collectors are willing to pay enormous amounts because perfect examples are incredibly scarce. One tiny scratch, fingerprint, or mark instantly destroys the value, making flawless survivors extremely precious in the modern coin market. The most shocking discoveries come from rare mint errors. Error coins are mistakes created during production at the United States Mint, and they often become legendary among collectors. Some 1981 Washington quarters have been discovered with off-center strikes, double lettering, clipped planchets, or dramatic die cracks. These unusual minting accidents transform ordinary coins into one-of-a-kind treasures. A dramatic error coin can become the centerpiece of a collector's entire collection because no two error coins are exactly alike. The stranger the mistake appears, the more excitement it creates among serious coin hunters. One particularly fascinating version is the 1981 Washington quarter from the Denver Mint. Many collectors consider high-grade examples of this coin extraordinarily difficult to locate. Most entered heavy circulation immediately after production, causing scratches, fading, and worn surfaces. Because of that, coins graded in exceptional mint state condition became elite collector items. Some examples with blazing luster, razor-sharp strikes, and untouched surfaces have sold for impressive amounts during major auctions. What once bought a simple snack decades ago can now command serious attention from wealthy collectors and investors. The Philadelphia Mint also produce a 1981 quarter without a mint mark, and certain examples from this location are equally important. Experts closely examine these coins under magnification, searching for sharp hair details, clean fields, and strong eagle feathers. Even the smallest imperfections matter. A tiny nick invisible to the naked eye could reduce a coin's value dramatically. This extreme level of grading precision is why top-condition quarters are so rare today. Many collectors spend years searching through bankrolls, hoping to discover a hidden gem overlooked by everyone else. Condition is everything in the rare coin world. Two identical 1981 Washington quarters may appear the same to ordinary people, yet one could be worth only face value, while another could sell for thousands. Professional grading companies study each coin carefully and assign numerical grades based on preservation quality. Coins graded near perfection become highly desirable because they represent the finest surviving examples known. A quarter preserved perfectly for decades without entering circulation becomes almost like a frozen piece of American history. The excitement surrounding rare quarters has exploded in recent years because of viral stories about ordinary people discovering valuable coins unexpectedly. Someone cleaning an attic, opening an old toolbox, or sorting inherited change may suddenly uncover a rare 1981 quarter worth far more than they ever imagined. These discoveries create a treasure-hunting atmosphere that keeps collectors constantly searching. Every coin jar becomes a mystery. Every old collection could hide a fortune. The possibility of finding an overlooked rarity keeps millions fascinated with coin collecting across America. Another reason collectors admire the 1981 Washington quarter is its connection to a changing era in United States history. America during the early 1980s was experiencing economic struggles, inflation concerns, and rapid cultural transformation. Coins from that time carry historical significance beyond their metal content. They represent a snapshot of a unique period in American life. Holding a well-preserved 1981 quarter feels like holding a small surviving artifact from that important era, which adds emotional value alongside financial value for many collectors. Some collectors dream of discovering a perfect 1981 quarter capable of setting auction records someday. Second up, the 1987 Washington quarter may look like an ordinary pocket coin, but hidden behind its simple appearance is a story filled with mystery, rarity, and unbelievable value that has stunned collectors for years. Millions of Americans spent these quarters without a second thought during the late 1980s, never realizing that a few rare examples would eventually become some of the most desired modern coins in the collector world. Today, certain 1987 quarters in extraordinary condition are treated like buried treasure because of their scarcity, powerful collector demand, and incredible preservation. Some experts believe that the rare surviving examples could continue rising dramatically in value as fewer untouched coins remain available on the market. The history of the Washington quarter stretches back to 1932, when the United States introduced a coin to honor George Washington during the bicentennial celebration of his birth. Over time, the quarter became one of the most recognized coins in American history. By 1987, the coin had already spent decades in circulation across the country, passing through restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, arcades, and vending machines. Yet despite being common in everyday life, the 1987 issue would later develop a reputation for containing hidden rarities that collectors now search for with incredible excitement. One of the biggest reasons a 1987 Washington quarter became so important is because very few collectors originally saved rolls of these coins in perfect condition. During the late 1980s, many people ignored modern quarters because they believed only older silver coins carry value. As a result, countless 1987 quarters entered circulation immediately and suffered scratches, dents, fading, and wear from constant handling. This massive circulation created a serious shortage of flawless examples decades later. Coins that survived untouched with blazing mint luster and sharp details became extremely difficult to locate, making them highly valuable among advanced collectors today. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of 1987 quarters without a mint mark, but finding one in near-perfect condition is surprisingly difficult. Most surviving examples show heavy contact marks and dull surfaces because they circulated heavily for years. However, rare specimens with strong strikes, clean fields, and brilliant shine are considered elite modern rarities. Professional grading companies examine these coins under intense magnification, and even the smallest imperfection can dramatically reduce their value. A nearly flawless 1987 quarter can therefore become far more valuable than ordinary people would ever expect from a modern coin. The Denver Mint also produced 1987 D. Washington quarters, and some of these coins have become legendary among collectors searching for exceptional condition rarities. Coins from Denver often display slightly different striking characteristics, and the finest examples are prized for their crisp details and strong mint brilliance. High-grade survivors are incredibly scarce because so few were preserved carefully when they were first released. Many collectors now spend years searching through old bankrolls and inherited collections, hoping to discover a hidden 1987 D gem that escaped circulation damage. Perhaps the most fascinating part of the 1987 quarter story involves rare minting errors. Mint errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process inside the United States Mint. These mistakes can include double letters, off-center strikes, clipped edges, die cracks, or unusual surface abnormalities. Because mint errors are accidental, every error coin becomes unique in its own way. Some dramatic 1987 quarter errors have attracted intense attention from collectors because they transform ordinary pocket change into one-of-a-kind collectibles with astonishing market demand. Proof versions of the 1987 Washington quarter also hold a special place in coin collecting history. These proof coins were struck with specially polished dies and carefully prepared surfaces designed for collectors rather than circulation. The result was a beautiful mirror-like appearance that made the details appear sharper and more elegant. Certain deep cameo-proof quarters from 1987 display stunning contrast between frosted designs and dark reflective backgrounds. In perfect condition, these proof coins can command impressive prices because flawless examples are remarkably difficult to preserve over long periods of time. Condition remains the single most important factor determining a 1987 quarter's value. Two quarters may look identical to ordinary people, yet one could be worth only face value, while another sells for thousands because of microscopic differences in preservation quality. Collectors search for coins with no visible scratches, no discoloration, strong luster, and razor-sharp details. Coins graded at the very top of the scale become famous within the collecting world because they represent the finest surviving examples known to exist. The excitement surrounding rare quarters has grown dramatically because of stories about unexpected discoveries. People cleaning out old homes, opening forgotten piggy banks, or sorting inherited collections have occasionally uncovered valuable coins worth far more than they imagined. These stories create powerful excitement because they remind everyone that hidden treasures can still exist in ordinary places. Every handful of spare change becomes a possible opportunity. Every old collection can contain a rare 1987 quarter, waiting silently to be discovered after decades of being overlooked. Collectors also admire the 1987 Washington quarter because it represents an important period in modern American history. The late 1980s were filled with economic growth, technological change, and cultural transformation across the United States. Coins from that era carry historical meaning beyond their monetary value because they reflect the daily life of millions of Americans during that time. Holding a perfectly preserved 1987 quarter feels like holding a tiny surviving artifact from a completely different generation. Another reason these quarters continue rising in popularity is scarcity at the highest levels of preservation. While millions were produced, truly flawless examples are astonishingly rare today. Time destroys most coins slowly through scratches, oxidation, fingerprints, and circulation wear. Because of this, surviving mint state examples become more desirable every year. Third up, the 1965 Washington quarter is one of the most mysterious and talked about coins in modern American history because it was born during a time of national panic, silver shortages, and massive changes inside the United States Mint. To ordinary people, this coin may look like nothing more than an old quarter sitting forgotten inside a drawer or coin jar. But collectors know the shocking truth. Some rare 1965 Washington quarters carry unbelievable value because of rare minting mistakes, unusual silver compositions, and extraordinary preservation. Hidden among millions of common coins could be a rare example worth far more than anyone could imagine, and that possibility has turned the 1965 quarter into a legendary treasure hunt for collectors around the world. The history behind the 1965 quarter begins with a major crisis in America's coin system. During the early 1960s, people across the country started hoarding silver coins because the value of silver itself was rising rapidly. At that time, quarters were still made from real silver, and Americans feared those coins would eventually disappear from circulation. To stop the shortage, the United States government made a dramatic decision in 1965. The composition of the Washington quarter changed forever, ending the era of traditional silver quarters that had existed for generations. This historic transformation instantly made 1965 one of the most important years in American coin history. The Washington quarter itself had already become an iconic American coin long before 1965. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the quarter became deeply connected to everyday American life. Millions of people use it daily for transportation, food, newspapers, and shopping. But when the composition changed in 1965 from silver to a copper-nickel-clad mixture, collectors immediately realized the coin represented the beginning of an entirely new era. That historical importance alone helped increase fascination surrounding the 1965 quarter. What makes some 1965 quarters incredibly valuable today is the possibility of transitional mint errors. During the switch from silver coins to clad coins, a small number of quarters may have accidentally been struck on leftover silver planchets intended for earlier issues. These rare silver-era quarters are among the most exciting discoveries in modern coin collecting because they combine historical importance with extreme rarity. A genuine 1965 silver quarter instantly becomes a major collector prize because so few are believed to exist. Discovering one would feel like uncovering hidden treasure lost during one of America's biggest monetary transitions. Collectors searching for these rare quarters often examine the coin's edge carefully. Ordinary clad quarters show a visible copper-colored layer along the side, while genuine silver examples display a solid silver appearance without the copper stripe. Weight also becomes important because silver quarters weigh differently than standard clad versions. These tiny details may appear insignificant to ordinary people, but for experienced collectors, they can mean the difference between a common coin and a life-changing discovery worth thousands of dollars. Another reason the 1965 Washington quarter became legendary is because the United States Mint removed mint marks during that era. Normally, coins displayed letters showing where they were produced, such as Philadelphia or Denver. But from 1965 through 1967, mint marks disappeared entirely in an attempt to discourage collectors from hoarding coins. This unusual decision created even more mystery around the 1965 quarter because identifying certain rare varieties became more difficult. The absence of mint marks turned these coins into fascinating historical artifacts from a very unusual moment in American coin production. Condition plays a massive role in determining the value of any 1965 quarter today. Most examples entered heavy circulation immediately and became scratched, worn, faded, or damaged after years of use. Because of that, pristine mint state survivors are extremely scarce. Collectors compete fiercely for coins with strong luster, clean surfaces, and sharp details because untouched examples are incredibly difficult to locate decades later. Even tiny imperfections visible only under magnification can dramatically reduce a coin's market value. The most breathtaking examples are those graded at the highest levels by professional authentication companies. These experts examine coins carefully under specialized lighting and magnification, assigning grades based on preservation quality. A near-perfect 1965 Washington quarter becomes highly desirable because it represents one of the finest surviving examples known. Wealthy collectors often pay astonishing prices for elite condition coins simply because true perfection is almost impossible to preserve over long periods of time. Mint errors add another layer of excitement to the 1965 quarter story. Some coins display doubled lettering, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, or other unusual production mistakes created during the minting process. Because these errors happen accidentally, each one becomes unique in its own way. Dramatic mint errors attract huge collector attention because they transform ordinary coins into one-of-a-kind pieces of American minting history. The stranger and more visible the error appears, the more excitement it creates in the collecting community. Over the years, stories of unexpected discoveries have helped fuel the legend of the 1965 Washington Quarter. People sorting inherited collections, opening forgotten coin jars, or searching through old bankrolls have occasionally uncovered valuable coins hiding in plain sight. These discoveries keep collectors constantly searching because they prove hidden treasures can still exist in ordinary places. Every handful of spare change becomes a possible opportunity to uncover a rare coin that escaped notice for decades. The historical importance of 1965 also gives the quarter emotional value beyond money. The mid-1960s represented a period of enormous change in the United States, filled with social transformation, economic challenges, and technological progress. Coins from that year became silent witnesses to history itself. Holding a well-preserved 1965 quarter feels like holding a tiny surviving artifact from a powerful moment when America changed its currency forever. That emotional connection increases the fascination collectors feel toward these coins. Fourth up, the 1984 Washington Quarter is one of those coins that most people ignore every single day without realizing they could be holding a hidden piece of American treasure in their hands. Millions of these quarters moved through stores, banks, restaurants, and vending machines during the 1980s. But tiny numbers survived with extraordinary features that later shocked the coin collecting world. Today, certain rare 1984 Washington quarters have become highly desired because of their incredible condition, unusual minting mistakes, and growing scarcity. What once purchased a simple drink or newspaper decades ago can now attract serious attention from collectors searching for rare modern coins with hidden value. The story of the Washington Quarter began in 1932 when the United States introduced the coin to honor George Washington. The quarter quickly became one of the most recognizable coins in America and remained a major part of daily life for generations. By 1984, the coin had already become deeply connected to American culture. Children carried them to arcades, travelers used them in payphones, and families spent them every day without thinking twice. Yet hidden among the millions of ordinary quarters produced that year were a few remarkable examples that would later become valuable collector treasures. One major reason the 1984 Washington Quarter became important is because high-grade examples are surprisingly difficult to find today. Although millions were minted, most entered heavy circulation immediately and suffered years of wear, scratches, and damage. Coins were tossed into cash registers, dropped onto hard surfaces, and carried loosely inside pockets and purses. Because of that rough treatment, perfectly preserved examples became extremely scarce over time. Collectors now compete aggressively for coins that still display brilliant mint luster, strong details, and clean, untouched surfaces. The Philadelphia Mint produced 1984 quarters without a mint mark, and some of the finest surviving examples have become elite collector items. These coins are closely studied under magnification because even the tiniest imperfections can affect value dramatically. A quarter with flawless fields, sharp hair details on Washington's portrait, and strong overall strike quality can command impressive prices in today's collector market. To ordinary people, these differences may seem invisible, but to experienced collectors, they mean everything. The Denver Mint also released millions of 1984 D. Washington quarters, and certain examples from this mint are especially admired for their striking quality and rarity in top condition. Many Denver quarters circulated heavily for decades, making pristine survivors extremely difficult to locate today. Some collectors spend years searching through rolls of old quarters, hoping to uncover one extraordinary coin overlooked by everyone else. The excitement of that search is one reason modern quarter collecting has become so popular across America. Among the most fascinating discoveries are rare mint-era quarters from 1984. Mint errors occur when something unusual happens during production inside the United States Mint. These mistakes can include double letters, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, weak strikes, or dramatic surface abnormalities. Because errors happen accidentally, each coin becomes unique. Some rare 1984 error quarters have attracted enormous attention because they transform an ordinary circulation coin into a one-of-a-kind collectible with extraordinary demand among collectors. One of the greatest thrills for collectors is discovering a quarter with dramatic doubling in the lettering or date. These double die varieties occur when the coin die receives a misaligned impression during creation, causing certain details to appear duplicated. Under magnification, the letters and numbers may seem slightly doubled or blurred. These rare varieties are highly prized because they reveal hidden minting mistakes invisible to most people. A strong double die example can become one of the highlights of an advanced Washington quarter collection. Proof versions of the 1984 Washington quarter are also admired by collectors worldwide. These special coins were produced specifically for collectors using polished dies and specially prepared surfaces. Unlike ordinary circulation coins, proof quarters display deep mirror-like backgrounds and frosted design details that create a stunning visual appearance. Perfect proof examples with no scratches, haze, or fingerprints are especially valuable because maintaining flawless condition for decades is extremely difficult. Condition remains the most important factor in determining the value of a 1984 quarter. Two coins may appear nearly identical to casual observers, yet one may be worth only face value while another sells for thousands because of tiny differences in preservation quality. Professional grading companies carefully inspect each coin under powerful lighting and magnification before assigning a grade. Coins reaching the highest grades become famous among collectors because they represent the finest surviving examples known. Another reason collectors remain fascinated by the 1984 Washington quarter is its connection to an important era in American history. The 1980s represented a time of technological growth, economic change, and major cultural transformation throughout the United States. Coins from that decade carry historical meaning beyond their metal value because they circulated during a period remembered for rapid modernization and changing lifestyles. Holding a perfectly preserved 1984 quarter feels like holding a tiny surviving artifact from a unique moment in American history. Stories about unexpected coin discoveries continue fueling interest in rare quarters today. People sorting inherited collections, opening old piggy banks, or cleaning forgotten drawers sometimes uncover valuable coins hiding in plain sight. These discoveries create excitement because they remind collectors that treasures can still exist in everyday places. A single overlooked quarter sitting inside an old jar for decades could suddenly become a remarkable collector item worth far more than anyone imagined. Scarcity has also increased the demand for elite condition 1984 quarters. Time destroys most coins slowly through circulation damage, corrosion, fingerprints, and environmental exposure. Fifth up, the 1991 Washington quarter is one of those forgotten American coins that quietly traveled through millions of hands while secretly hiding the potential to become an astonishing collector treasure decades later. Most people who spent these quarters during the early 1990s never imagined that certain rare examples would eventually attract serious attention from coin experts and collectors across the country. Today, a small number of extraordinary 1991 quarters are considered highly valuable because of their rare condition, minting abnormalities, and remarkable scarcity at the highest grading levels. What once seemed like ordinary pocket change can now hold the power to shock collectors with unexpected value. The Washington quarter itself has a powerful legacy in American history. Introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the coin quickly became one of the most recognized pieces of currency ever produced in the United States. For generations, Americans carried these quarters in pockets, purses, cash registers, and coin jars. By 1991, the quarter had become deeply woven into daily life. Yet hidden among the millions produced that year were a few remarkable coins that would later become highly sought-after collector items because of their rarity and preservation. One reason the 1991 Washington quarter became important is because truly flawless examples are surprisingly difficult to locate today. Although huge numbers were minted, most entered heavy circulation immediately and suffered years of damage through everyday use. Coins were scratched, dropped, bent, and exposed to moisture and dirt. Because of that rough handling, perfectly preserved survivors became incredibly scarce over time. Collectors now search aggressively for quarters that still display bright original luster, sharp design details, and surfaces free from visible imperfections. The 1991 quarter from the Philadelphia Mint, produced without a mint mark, is especially difficult to locate in elite condition. Many surviving examples show contact marks and dull surfaces caused by years of circulation. However, a quarter preserved in near-perfect condition with crisp details and brilliant shine can attract serious collector attention. Professional grading companies carefully inspect these coins under magnification because even the smallest flaw can reduce value dramatically. This extreme level of grading precision is what makes top-condition modern quarters so fascinating to collectors. The Denver Mint also produced millions of 1991 D. Washington quarters, but finding one with exceptional quality is far more difficult than many people realize. Most Denver quarters circulated heavily and lost their original beauty long ago. Yet a tiny number survived untouched inside old rolls, collections, or storage containers. These rare survivors can appear almost frozen in time, still displaying the fresh appearance they had when they first left the mint decades ago. Collectors consider such coins highly desirable because true mint state preservation becomes harder to find with every passing year. Among the most exciting discoveries are rare mint era versions of the 1991 quarter. Mint errors occur when something unusual happens during the striking process inside the United States Mint. Some coins display doubled letters, off-center strikes, clipped edges, die cracks, or dramatic surface abnormalities. Because these mistakes happen accidentally, every error coin becomes unique. Serious collectors love mint errors because they represent unexpected moments in coin production history that were never supposed to exist in circulation. One of the most talked about possibilities involves double die quarters, where certain letters or numbers appear slightly duplicated because of die misalignment during production. These subtle but fascinating varieties can be difficult to spot without magnification, yet collectors examine every detail, carefully searching for hidden signs of rarity. A strong double die example can become extremely valuable because collectors appreciate both the rarity and the unusual appearance created by the minting mistake. Proof versions of the 1991 Washington quarter also hold a special place in the collector world. These proof coins were made specifically for collectors using highly polished dies and carefully prepared planchets. Unlike ordinary circulation quarters, proof coins display mirror-like surfaces and frosted details that create a stunning visual contrast. Perfect proof examples without scratches, fingerprints, or haze are highly prized because maintaining flawless condition over decades is extraordinarily difficult. Even the smallest defect can dramatically affect collector value. Condition remains the most important factor in determining how valuable a 1991 quarter can become. Two coins may appear nearly identical to casual observers, yet one could be worth only face value, while another commands a large premium because of tiny differences in preservation quality. Coins graded at the very top of the scale become famous within the collecting community because they represent the finest surviving examples known. Wealthy collectors often compete fiercely for these elite quality coins because true perfection is incredibly rare. The growing popularity of modern coin collecting has increased attention toward quarters from the 1990s. Years ago, many collectors ignored these coins because they believed only older silver coins held significant value. But as time passed, experts realized that modern quarters in extraordinary condition are far scarcer than originally believed. This shift in collector interest transformed certain 1991 quarters from overlooked change into serious collector treasures with rising demand. Another reason the 1991 quarter fascinates collectors is its connection to a rapidly changing America. The early 1990s represented a period filled with technological growth, economic transformation, and major cultural shifts throughout the United States. Coins from that era became silent witnesses to history itself, passing to the hands of millions during an important moment in modern American life. Holding a perfectly preserved 1991 quarter feels like holding a tiny surviving artifact from a completely different era. Stories about unexpected discoveries continue fueling excitement in the coin collecting world. People cleaning old houses, sorting inherited collections, or opening forgotten jars sometimes uncover valuable coins hidden for decades.